Hello there. So we are at the very beginning of June. This is LaWanda Bennyfield, owner of LaWanda Bennyfield LLC, also operating as LB LLC. Please click or subscribe if you like the videos I've been providing. Um, I am on LaWanda underscore your CPA with YouTube, and that's where I mostly post them, but I also post on LaWanda Bennyfield LLC on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. And this is just educational videos I like to put out a weekly basis because I love sharing information. Just want to improve the knowledge base for those who are interested. And hopefully, if you are interested in speaking further with me, you can definitely book a consultation with me and we can see where we go with that. So, today, what I'd like to talk about is we are at the semi annual point of the year. This is June the 3rd. So now half the year is gone, believe it or not. And this is a great time to start thinking about, hey, what can I do to make things better? You can start looking at how things have gone so far. Like last year, you may have already set up plans for projections for your sales. You may have been setting up plans for things you wanted to pay off or things that you expected to receive and you didn't, or actually goals that you had savings wise or debt reduction wise or procurement wise. This is a great time to start analyzing where you are in the year. It's a good time to see retirement as far as the contributions that could be made for you or your staff to make sure that all those have been made so far. It's a good time for pass-through entities. That's the S corps, partnerships, to the LLCs to look at your qualified business income because you know that's permanent. The tax cut that came in with the 20% deduction for QBI, that's a permanent calculation that goes into your annual tax return. So you want to make sure that everything is up to par and you've got all your everything coded correctly and categorized, assuming you have systems in place to capture your income and your expenses. It's also a good time to check your books to see if you have some projections you need to put in or you need to record some of your accruals if you're on accrual accounting in terms of depreciation, amortizing, terms of expenses that are prepaid, those kind of things. You might want to take a look at that, where you are, what you need to do. Because again, in 6 months, which will go very quickly, you'll look up and you'll be doing the whole exercise of, oh, it's too late. Well, now is the time when you start capturing things. It's also a great time for employees to check their W-4s. That's your federal withholding. I've had a lot of people say, oh, I want to pay more towards my federal taxes because I didn't have enough withheld. Well, I did do a video on that, but this is a good time to look at W-4 adjustments, as well as if you're in a state that takes out state taxes for income. This is a great time to check and see, are you having enough withheld? Look at your last pay. If you're still working a W-2 job, look at your past pay stub and see how much has been withheld. You can look at the tax tables that come out for how much money you've paid so far and see if you've paid enough. If you haven't, that's not a hard calculation to determine and go forward. You'd rather catch it now than to look up at 6 months from now and you start ready to do your taxes and you end up in a worse position than you thought because you didn't prepare for it. Another thing is depreciation. You might want to look at if things that if you have a small business and maybe you purchased some vehicles or some trucks this year, or maybe you purchased some other big items, equipment, and are you going to depreciate those? Are you going to take the bonus depreciation on some items? Or are you going to just expense it? It's kind of up to you, whatever those are. But I think you should speak to your accountant or definitely your CPA to determine what decision is best for you. Also looking for opportunities where you can save money. Have you spent way too much? Like you may be way off mark, like you're not exactly where you thought you would be, or maybe your accounts receivable balance is rather high, your cash flow is low. Maybe your sales aren't reflected accurately. I mean, you may want to dig into your books now to see what's going on there, because just because your P&L may spit out that you have a profit, do you really? If you have to look and see what those numbers mean. So there's more to it than just taking the face value. You should be able to look beneath the surface and see what's happening. Another thing I wanted to mention is everyone that has a side hustle. those who decided to start an Etsy account, or they're doing Instacart, or they're doing Uber, or they are in a salon doing hair, nails, or barbers. One thing you want to do is make sure you're calculating for that self-employment tax. That's like 15.3%. And you want to make sure you're paying taxes to federal, and if your state takes taxes on your income, you want to make sure you're paying that, because you're considered a contractor, self-employed, which means you have to pay the Social Security tax as well as the Medicare tax, which is what makes up the self-employment. You want to make sure you're doing that. You don't want to let that slide, because it's going to catch up with you. Another thing too is making quarterly payments. June 15th is a great date to make a payment towards your tax liability if you are not paying taxes on a monthly basis. Definitely should pay it quarterly, and your month is coming up. Your week is coming actually next week, or shortly after next week is the 15th, because today's the 3rd. So you're 12 days away. So you might want to put that in your to-do list on what you want to do with that. I'm trying to keep a list here of things I want to mention, because I don't want to pass anything up. If you just started a business, there's startup costs that you can write off in your first year. You can write up to $5,000 worth of startup costs when you're organizing and getting your business together. So that's another great add that goes towards helping you formulate your business. Anything above that, you're going to have to go carry it forward the following year. But that's something to keep in mind. What are your startup costs? And do you have that stuff documented? Because you want to make sure you can be able to put your hands on it if you're ever asked about it. Another thing I want to mention is I'm so sorry, record keeping, your bookkeeping, making sure that you're staying on par and that you have great systems in place, because when you want to go and start applying for mortgages, if you want to go for a loan, trust and believe that the bank or the funding institution you're going to, they want to see, is your business making money? If your business is not making money, or you don't have the cash flow, then they probably aren't going to lend you money. They're going to look at your credit report. You need to have good credit as well. And in some cases, if you want to purchase something and you haven't filed a tax return in a number of years, well, that's going to count against you as well. So it's very important to keep these things in mind in terms of fundability, and then plans and projections you have. You may want to purchase another company. You may want to hire additional personnel. You may want to invest in equipment and not hire additionally, but actually make some other adjustments to your staff. There's a lot of things you have to do, but you should keep all that stuff in mind, because this is the time to start formulating and getting ready. Because before you know it, you get caught up in all the festivities, summertime, coming up on the fall, holidays, and then New Year's, and then boom, too late to do anything about 2026. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon. Thank you.